What's something someone did that instantly made you lose your crush on them? My crush knew I was attracted to her, but she made fun of my little sister, different last name, in front of me and then looked to me in approval. Only I make fun of my little sister. Darn straight. Me against my brother and I against our cousin. My brother and cousin and I against the stranger. You, your brother, your cousin, and the stranger against Karen. It is always Karen. The oldest of family traditions. I used to get in people's faces for bullying my younger brother. He's bigger than me though, so it's weird to call him little brother, then 2 days later be like, they had a point though, dude. Nobody ruins my family's vacation except me. And maybe the boy. I had an insane vegan girlfriend whose mentally unstable sister told me she didn't want me to think we were friends. Her mom was nice, but the dad thought I was weird, sorry for being high-functioning autistic. Can't do anything about that. Their family had 13 cats, 3 birds, and 2 dogs. They believed in ghosts and would all sleep in the same bed when they thought the ghosts in their house were being extra uppity. There was this woman I thought I got along with really well. One day she gives me her number and asks me out that weekend. I call her later and she doesn't answer the phone or text but sees me a couple days later and says she doesn't check her phone much. I confirm we still have plans and she says yes. That day I show up to meet her, she doesn't show. I call and she doesn't answer. I see her the next day and she apologizes and makes plans again a few days later. I call again before we're supposed to meet up, but this time from my other phone, which was a number she didn't know. She answers, I say who it is and she hangs up on me. Wow, that's a whole new level. Legendary. Edit. Gold? Even I didn't think I was that funny. It really confused me. Like, if I asked her out and she said yes but didn't really want to go, that would be one thing. But she asked me out and then ghosted me. This is after her being really friendly to me for several weeks, dropping hints, and so on. I'm really confused by it. She gets off on stringing guys along then crushing their hopes. Either she's a massive B, or she has really bad anxiety about dates. Regardless, she needs to resolve something. This will happen to me with coworkers. At work, you'll click with them really well, and feel reasonably certain that you're one of their favorite coworkers. Eventually one of you suggests hanging out, you exchange numbers etc. You message them and nothing. You know they live with their phone constantly in their hand, so it's unlikely they didn't see it. From here, you learn that this person is one of 2 types of people. 1. The type where, once they clock out, their work friends are the lowest on their social totem pole. They'll constantly talk about making plans while at work, but no follow-through. 2. The type of person just really doesn't understand how plans work or how linear time works. You find out from even their non-work friends that they constantly flake or are late. I really don't harbor any ill will against people who don't want to hang out, I just don't get why they make plans in the first place. I know the pain. I had met this girl at a bar and we hit it off. We were making out and all was good, I got her number and we agreed to meet up later. I set up a date with her in a few days and an hour before the date she cancels on me. A week later we set up another date and she cancels that one a few days before. At this point I'm not about to waste any more time and I'm done. Well, a couple of weeks later she calls me and says she is going to the same bar we met at with her friends in a few hours and she wants to see me. I say sure and she told me to text her before I left for the bar. I text her that I'm on my way and she says she is too tired to go and is deciding to not go. I decide to say forget it and go by myself. Well, guess who I saw at the bar a couple hours later at the bar with her friends just having a blast. I sent her a text message calling her out and saying she was a piece of work. I then blocked and deleted her number. I have not been back to that bar since or heard from her. Here is the real funny bit. That first night she said the only reason she didn't want to go home with me was because I seemed like a ladies' man and I probably took lots of girls home with me constantly. Truth is that I was a virgin at the time, but I had just lost so much weight that I was finally comfortable with my body and approaching women. I guess I overshot my confidence, lol. Dude said something like, I can't be just friends with girls, they all have crushes on me. Stopped crushing on him out of spite. This made me lol. You're my hero. He wasn't that wrong then. Yeah, she kinda proved his point tbh. I say this all the time, except I'm in a very secure relationship and I'm ugly. Responses from MySo range from eye-rolling to indignant disbelief to pointing out other people who probably fancy me, depending on mood. Them. Hey, lemme show you this song I think you'll like. Me. Goes to pull out headphones. Them. Plays entirety of song on speaker at a loud volume while we are on a public bus. This is my own personal hell. My mother-in-law did this in a gym while we were waiting for my son's kindergarten music concert to start. I was so embarrassed, I walked out to the hall. I didn't want anyone thinking I was that ridiculously rude too. First text conversation was full of "I'm so random" humor. It went sorta like this. Her. Hey. Me. Hey, what's up? Her. I'm just eating juicy bread with my friend. Me. What is juicy bread? Her. Yay, it's this type of bread you eat behind a dumpster in the apocalypse. Me. I see. Her. But you have to eat it before the cowboy rides up on his unicorn. I think I broke my teeth from clenching my jaw on that one. I remember being this person back from 6th-8th grade. Cringe. I tried to get in with this crowd in high school because they seemed so cool with their style, and it was similar to mine. Hot topic lol. I'm naturally very serious, so I never had the personality to be random. Now that I'm older and see all the cringe posts from people who could pull it off, I'm glad I couldn't. That's generous of you to think there are people that can pull it off. We finally went out on a date and I spent most of the time at the restaurant by myself while he stayed in the bathroom feeling bad because unbeknownst to me at the time, he was having withdrawals from Oxy. I guess someone brought him some or something because he came back after a long time feeling great. He invited me back to his place and stupid me agreed. After a failure of a date, he attempted to make out with me and climbed on top of me. I was so not into it and started telling him no and push him off, but he fought me and kept angrily telling me, "Come on, I've been waiting for this." Eventually, I started shouting no even louder and he gave up and let me go. He was really mad and I grabbed my things and left. Nice job sticking your ground. I'm sorry that happened. I'm glad you got out okay. He asked if my family had looked into essential oils and vitamins to cure my dad's stage 4 cancer. A girl I knew at uni, and in fact lived with, and was very close to, ended up with metastatic cancer. She was always an intelligent and rational girl, though a little kooky. She was intelligent enough to know the difference, but when she was told her condition was beyond medicine to cure, she started doing all of these things. She died late last year, barely 30 from it. We had lost touch and I didn't find out until a couple of weeks ago and am crushed with regret. I've come to believe, however, that there are circumstances where when all hope is gone for standard treatment, no matter how rational you are, there are things you choose to believe in if you want to have any hope at all anymore. When you're in a position facing the impossible to conquer, normally death, you will choose to try to believe even the most bizarre and irrational thing if it can give you comfort and any form of hope. I hope she rests in peace, and if she is up there somewhere, she knows how sorry I am. I think you're right. It's innate in all of us to try to survive. When you've exhausted everything your doctor can try, what else are you going to do? Just go to everyone you know, your old workplaces, tell them, "Hey, the chemo's not working, just wanted to say thanks for everything, remember me like this," instead of, "Anyway, I've got to get going." Or you've got that check from your critical illness coverage, you've taken care of the top 3 things on your bucket list that your oncologist said to take care of right away, and you've got 15 grand in the bank, and you heard a story of a guy whose friend had a coworker that had a bath full of lavender oil every day for a month and ate nothing but pickles and went into remission, and that's really only a couple grand in oil, and what else are you going to do with it? I mean, it's not like you can make things worse, right? Your doctors already gave up, the Mayo Clinic isn't returning your emails. I can't say I wouldn't at least strongly consider it. I mean, I'm a rational guy, but everybody panics when they start to drown. Whenever he talked to me, it was only about himself and how great he is, better than any other boys, he's different from other boys. Was his name Gaston? No, Oni brags like Gaston. Gatson. You blew it. No one spells like Gatson. No one quite has a head that can swell like Gatson. She spoke badly of someone because she saw them with crutches after spraining their ankle falling on a trampoline, claiming that they just wanted attention. Why do some people do this? I sprained my ankle in 8th grade and one girl from my class confronted me in the hall and started calling me a faker and claimed I was doing it for attention. I was so stunned, I was speechless. Dude, I lost friends in high school contracting this weird neurological disease that had me bedridden for 6 months. They never came to visit me, confronted me and said I was faking my disease and was only doing it for attention. My body ate itself and it was just me faking it. called them all a bunch of assholes and ignored them on graduation day. I had complex migraines that caused me to have stroke-like symptoms including blackouts. Even doctors didn't believe me. Luckily I accidentally found out it was food allergies. Schoolmates, coworkers, my mom, and doctors all thought I was faking it. This was years ago and I'm still mad. I had a real medical emergency on LSD, and knowing something is wrong with you and no one believing you is the scariest thing ever. She was mean, like really cruel to people. She went from really hot to not looking very good. One of my friends ended up dating her and I just could never see anything remotely attractive in her anytime I saw them. She became what my friends call ugly hot. So ugly inside it affected the way people perceived her physically. Edit. Shout out to you, Shez Lore Shore, for pointing out the opposite is also true. Inner beauty truly does shine through. Ah yes, the Twits principle. Inner beauty shines through, and the opposite is also true. There are a number of people I know who people consider handsome, but they have such awful personalities that I just can't see them as good looking. Had this happened to an ex as we walked down the street. She made fun of two 14-year-old looking girls for playing music and singing walking down the street together, right in their face, a full-grown woman. Pathetic. I should have ended it there but thought it wasn't a deal-breaker. Experience. He'd insult things I liked and tell me how much better his opinion was, constantly. I had this experience once as well. Every time I mentioned how I loved a song that came on the radio, he'd turn the volume down. Every time I mentioned I like anything, he'd insult it. I turned him down for sex. Guess who got the insults then? I used to do this. It took a while for me to realize it was rude as frack. It came from me spending a lot of time on my own, forming strong opinions with little to no input from peers. So when it came to experiencing people that disagreed with me, I was mind-blown. I have scars on my legs from an autoimmune disease. My crush saw them on the first hot day of the year. He had transferred in the fall, and he, literally, leapt 4 seats back from me in disgust. All feelings gone. Never spoke to him again. What a weird coincidence. I have a couple of scars because I'm not autoimmune. I got hit by a Buick. I wish I could upvote this more than once. It's called 20 accounts. Name checks out. That's harsh. I don't understand why scars make some people uncomfortable. What are they afraid of? It's not like scars are contagious. I used to get chased around and kissed when caught in kindergarten. One day, my face got crushed into the asphalt and I had scabs all over my forehead. The next day, the girl pointed at my face as said, "EEWWW, what's that on your face? I don't have a crush on you anymore." She was crazy. Girls were icky. I've never been happier to have a bloody face. A scab a day keeps the thoughts away. And you've been making your face bloody ever since. Similar story. This girl chased me around the playground for a while. Our playground was the parking lot until I finally got tired and asked what she wanted. I was a small kid who played a lot of sports and was the human equivalent of PVC pipe. She proceeded to grab the back of my collar and a belt loop and throw me head first into the side of our brick-walled gym. She got expelled. I got my first concussion at the age of 6. She liked to talk about herself. I am more of a listener, so it was fine. During one such self-praise session at our date, she was like, "I don't know why, but everyone just keeps ending up having a crush on me. Some even think they're in love." I thought to myself, can I listen to nonsense like this all my life? Voice inside my head said, "You don't even tolerate half this crazy from your family. Are you really asking the question?" Voice inside my head said, "Do you have this guy's address so I can hire him? Yeah, that guy seems much more reasonable than my guy. Can I get his number? My guy doesn't even talk. Just watches me do dumb things." One day we were at a party just sitting there with a large group of people. He points to another group nearby and makes fun of them. Why? Because they were in line to get some food. What is wrong with wanting to eat? You dweebs need basic sustenance to survive? I feed off the despair of others. Oh no, one of those desperians. Not to be confused with the other kind of desperian, which is someone who feeds off of Despacito and that's it. I was in year 3, he was in year 6. He said a bad word and 7-year-old me never forgave him. My crush disappeared instantly. FYI, the word was crap. That'll do it. Dodged a bullet there, honestly. Checked his social media and he had an album specifically meant for posting photos of hot bikini models, which was just weird. Then I started reading his bio and comments and other stuff, and the way he wrote online came off like a 12-year-old boy, and he used a lot of emoticons. Instantly killed it, and I didn't see him the same way after that. And he used a lot of emoticons. Crying face. I feel the same, man. Sad face. She had been searching for a job for over 2 months while I helped support them. Then she turned down a job offer because she felt her interviewer was rude to her because she was late to the interview. The most surprising thing about this is the fact that they offered her a job after she was late to the interview. She said vaccines cause autism. At least you wouldn't have had to pay child support for too long if you knocked her up. She had her dog put down before leaving for college because she didn't believe anybody would take as good of care of him as she did. It was an English sheepdog. She didn't see the irony in what she did. Of course, it was probably hard for her to understand me as I was pretty much screaming in her face. Internal fury of 1,000 stars. That's the exact kind of woman that will drown her children in a bathtub. You'll be starting school soon, but we both know those teachers can't take care of you as well as I can, and I simply don't have the time for homeschooling. Bathwater running. How would a vet even say yes to this? I want to believe the vet just said they would do it, then smuggled the dog away to go to someone who will love him. I really want to believe that. She was super serious about astrology. So did what every horoscope told her, and it was mind-numbing. My husband's ex-GF dumped him because her horoscope said it wasn't meant to be. I'm so thankful. 12 wonderful years, and she messages him every once in a while in a sea of regret. Wow. Though it kinda sounds like she was looking for any excuse to dump him and latched onto astrology. Unless she really was that deep into it. That's when you call them up and ask them to hook you up. Your horoscope is. Your boyfriend doesn't want to go to visit your parents again. It's time you reconcile this fact. I mean, they write horoscopes, they've got nothing better to do, and maybe you'll come across someone who is just doing it for the cash and not because they believe it. We went to college in a Bible Belt town. There was a student group called Christ Ambassadors whose members wore matching shirts on Wednesdays. They'd hand out mini Bibles and tell you you're going to hell. He was beautiful, but one Wednesday, he walked into class wearing a Christ Ambassador t-shirt and my heart broke. Neat story, a friend of mine ended up marrying him and he beat her up really badly, so that also helped to quell the crush. She got out and is safe now, by the way. Boy, that escalated quickly. You're lucky you noped out of there as early as you did. Also, username checks out. When you treat animals or people badly, it's over in my book. Started arguing in favor of FGM. I mean, wow, was that a fast crush kill? FGM? Female genital mutilation. What? What argument can you possibly have in favor of that? Little girls line up down the road with their mothers, excited for it. Excuse me, what? Huge crush in on this one girl in my college English class. She was a bit religious, but whatever, didn't talk about it too much. We talked all the time, did a few projects together, found out she wasn't dating this one guy anymore, looked up her Facebook, found her posts about using pig fat covered bullets to shoot Muslims in Iraq, and posts about how school shootings are because we don't allow God in schools. Few more scrolls got to some homophobic stuff. Major turn off and disappointment. Sounds like you dodged a large bullet there. What is wrong with people? She said she had a boyfriend. Crush lost instantly. I ain't freaking with their relationship, let them be happy and cut your losses, fellas. At least she told you straight on. You're a really cool guy, I respect you for that thinking. My first girlfriend and I were together for a month or so, and she constantly told me not to speak with this one guy because he was trouble or something. Something to do with drugs. Well, one day I end up talking with him in the school cafeteria, and turns out he was very excited for his anniversary with my girlfriend. A friend of mine left me with an analogy that has stuck with me to this day. When you fish, you're not setting out just one line. You set out multiple lines. Sometimes one might have a bite while others don't. Sometimes none of them have a bite. Sometimes some bite at the same time, and you have to prioritize. Moral of the story is that you have to be patient. Sometimes you think you caught a fish and it was really just an old boot. When she liked me back, I can't go out with someone with bad life choices. Edit. Thanks for the silver, lads. Do I really deserve it? Gold overnight? Thanks very much, lads. This is way too real. Especially when I'm depressed and someone told me they like me. I'm not sure how to react. Had a pretty solid crush on a coworker at a grocery store. She even had a friend ask if I was single, so I asked her out for dinner. She said yes and I was stoked. Then she wasn't at work for a week. Whatever, figured it was a vacation or something. Turns out she got suspended for calling a coworker a dirty Mexican. That made me lose interest pretty fast. Spoke in needlessly graphic terms about having sex with his girlfriend. It was just an 18-yo high on first-time sex bragging, so I hope he doesn't do it anymore, but it was an instant crush killer regardless. Anyway, that was shortly after he moved to Scotland. Hey, so there's this guy the first like and I need your help. I was the new kid. She showed obvious initial interest. There was hand-holding, there was a date, but evidently I turned out not to be up to her high standards in terms of social class, so I started getting the cold shoulder. She was upset about rumors we were boyfriend-girlfriend. When I called her to find out what was going on, she told me she hadn't felt the need to discuss anything because she assumed I could read her mind. The years passed and then there was Facebook. Suffice it to say, I'm glad things didn't work out between us. Edit. Sorry for being cryptic. We have different standards and want different things out of life. One example is kids. She didn't want them and I did. She seems happy. I'm happy. We wouldn't have been happy together. None of this matters. Like the post says, this is a case of instantly losing my crush on her. I've had no feelings for her since I learned more about her personality and priorities. TLDR. She was overly concerned with social status. The years passed and then there was Facebook. Suffice it to say, I'm glad things didn't work out between us. Please elaborate. He texted me at all hours of the day about his crippling anxiety and other girls. He hardly let me get a word in. Edit. I'm not at all opposed to talking to friends about mental health or asking for help. I'm actually really interested in pursuing a psychology degree. It just got to a point where I couldn't help anymore. I became too worried about him and had to take a step back. I met a girl and crushed hard on her, and eventually we became friends and hung out. One day she said that children with autism were God's punishment for immoral parents. I told her I had Asperger's syndrome, walked away, and never spoke to her again. I was out with my crush and ran into an old friend from high school who was openly gay and wore pretty feminine clothing. I don't remember what exactly led to this, but crush said, "I take it your friend is gay, I don't like that." Didn't talk to him again after that day. Editing to add. Yes, I did try to educate him. I did say words to the effect of, well, he's living his authentic life and not hurting anyone, and I think that's beautiful. YTF, do you care? He didn't like that I said that, so I quit talking to him after that. Lol, at least he straight up told you so that you could know and nope out quicker. I didn't instantly lose it. And I still like her, but we aren't speaking anymore. But I did instantly know that things were going to be sad from then on. She casually said she drank a beer on the drive up to my house when she visited. I knew right then and there she was an alcoholic. I kept talking over the next couple weeks to her. But layer by layer the alcoholism was revealed more and more, and she went from this pure good-natured, kind, honest, beautiful and intelligent girl that I wanted to learn everything about to a completely different person. Someone who wasn't afraid to yell at me and cause a scene in public over nonsense. Someone who wasn't afraid to physically push me away when I was trying to comfort her. Someone who got drunk and drove with no shame. Someone who, when I explained to her I had the same problem not too long ago and I've seen this before, understood but largely ignored. She was funny in a way that made me feel like we had been friends for our entire lives. She was adoring like a puppy, and she was so well spoken I was nervous talking to her. But only when she was sober. And I miss her terribly. After consulting some of the alcoholism boards on here, I found that apparently there's nothing I can do but get out of the way of this train wreck and distance myself. Hopefully she balances out and doesn't hit rock bottom too hard. I know it can be a process, but is this hard? Talking nonsense about using coupons. This guy was very cute and quite the charmer, until he started talking about how only poor people use coupons, and obviously you shouldn't be spending money on going out to eat if you have to use a coupon. I could be Bill Gates and I am still going to go for the buy one get one free special. Told me I was the cute one in my friend group. His friend apparently agreed, and they snickered about my very sweet friends who were standing in line. Never had my opinion of someone drop so low so fast. Those girls were awesome. That guy and his friend were garbage, and I told them exactly that. Went to the movie without him, told my friends he had to be somewhere else, which was true. He had to be away from us. Texting me for the sole purpose of complaining about their life, while taking zero action to improve it and ignoring any and all advice. Edit. Just wanted to clarify a bit. I'm talking about people who chronically complain, not someone who's complaining once or twice, or is just venting during a rough time. Hope I didn't offend anyone. When they made racist jokes about the race that I am a member of, in front of me. Glad I caught it early though. She was eating a burrito and smeared beans all over my arm. Instant turn off. Being smothered with beans, does it get you aroused? Weirdo. Smoke cigarettes. More of a personal thing, as some people are okay with it, but I just find it so disgusting that it immediately turns me off completely. I joined a middle school play to spend more time with her. Backstage we were flirting and finally getting on the same page, when she says, "You know, you would be a lot cuter if you lost weight." She was right, but going to check this thread to see if any of my own behavior shows up. Edit. None of the comments applied to me. I'm friendly to service staff, love animals, don't smoke, nor do I cheat. Guess he just didn't like me. She told someone on stage during a live theater event to speak up. He told me he thought the earth was flat. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe.